Welcome back, Gundam guys and Gundam gals. Patrick Grade here from GGInfinite.com. And today I'm very happy to bring you the first part of the review for the newest HGUC kit available at GGInfinite.com, the ReZEL Type C Defensor B unit in general ReZEL colors. So if you haven't done so already, go take a look at the unboxing video to get a chance to see all the plates, the stickers, and the manual, as well as the box art. And here we'll be taking a look at all the individual parts and pieces of the kit, as well as a look at the mobile suit. And in the next video we'll be taking a look at the transformation process and the Waverider form. So let's go and get started with all the individual parts and pieces and see how they turned out. So let's go and get started at the bottom with the feet and legs. And if you're familiar with the construction of the other HGUC ReZELs, the feet and legs are the same thing we've seen before. Really good articulation at the knee, a full 180-degree bend. But of course that's for the transformation, as well as the mid-foot brake here in the middle. You can see the foot brakes all the way down. The ankle has quite a bit of freedom of movement as well, side to side, up and down, and back and forth. So very good articulation there in the lower legs. And a good color separation as well. All the white pieces are separate pieces, as well as the orange and the gray there. So definitely good color separation. Got some nice detail on the back here with the pipes going up and down on the back of the legs. One main difference on this ReZEL is that the side skirt here is an oversized deal. We have one large thruster and two small thrusters on either side, and this can swivel around 360. This is quite a bit larger than the other side skirts in the ReZEL, which of course are attached to the hip joints and not the waist armor. So definitely a cool little addition here with the side skirt. I like the color scheme. I know it's a little too neutral for some people, but I kind of dig it myself. At least it's something different. And really, like I said before, really good articulation. Nice detail here in the knee and back of the legs. And just overall pretty good quality. Very solid, none of the pieces fall off or anything, so pretty top notch for a high grade kit. The waist unit is pretty simple, except for the hook crotch there. We have movable front skirts, so you can cut them in half if you want to and have separate movement there. The back skirt is solid, but you can see the gray vents poking through from underneath. And we have a hip joint that can kind of swivel back and forth a little bit and in and out. So a little bit of extra movement there, as well as the attachment point for the action base. On the front of the crotch here, you can see the symbol there achieved by the 3 stickers. 2 orange stickers, one on top of one on bottom, and the yellow sticker there in the center. I didn't do a very good job. I can't seem to line it up very well and make it stay in place. But maybe if you have some of the soft center stuff, it could stay down a little better. But it's a little bit better than having just the blank piece there. So looks alright, I guess. So again, pretty simple for the waist armor. Not much going on with the side skirts being on the legs and stuff. So overall pretty simple. The chest unit is looking really nice with all the different color separation here. The orange, white, gray, and off-white are all separate pieces. The yellow up here on the sides are stickers, and they look pretty good down in there, so they don't stick out too much. No real articulation there. Everything's pretty solid. One thing I've always been kind of disappointed with are the shoulders on the ReZEL. These are solid pegs coming out of the shoulders, and they prevent the shoulder armor from moving down too much, and they're kind of stuck out at a weird angle. So I'll show you that when I put everything together. But other than that, everything's pretty nice. Again, no articulation, nothing really moving around here except for the neck joint. For the transformation process, the front of the chest does detach. And this attaches to a transformation cog kind of thing, so that's kind of cool. And it goes back on there just fine. Again, good color separation. It looks really nice and a pretty cool color scheme, I think. Nothing new on the arms or shoulder armor. The shoulder armor is separate from the rest of the shoulder here, so it can swivel up and down on its own accord. The elbow bends a little over 90 degrees, so not too much at the elbow. And we have points on the back of either forearm for the shield to attach to if you want it to. And of course the swivel below the shoulder joint. I have a couple white pieces here for different vents and accent pieces, so looking pretty good. And the little areas for the grenade launchers, whatever they're supposed to be there on the forearms. Again, nothing new on the Type C here, but always a pretty solid design. So next up we're taking a look at the head, which has some good color separation, as well as a couple stickers. The yellow for the eyes is a separate piece with a silver sticker in behind to help it illuminate a little bit. Majority of the off-white plastic for the construction of the head, as well as a white piece of plastic there on the crown. And 2 camera sensors on the front and the back, and the orange stickers. The head looks really good with no seam lines. The seam lines tucked under here in the groove there, so good construction and hidden seam lines. There are little Vulcan cannons down there on the ears areas, so you can highlight that if you wanted to with some panel lining, which I might do before we finish the review. Overall it's a pretty simple design, but I've always enjoyed the Zeta type design here, so pretty nice looking head. So next up we'll start taking a look at the weapons and accessories, starting with the Mega Beam launchers here. We have 2 mirror images of the Mega Beam launchers, one for left and right shoulder. They're looking really nice, really nicely oversized. We have a complex joint here that attaches it to the backpack with 3 points of articulation, so you can get a couple different forms out of it. And there's also a handle hidden underneath here that tucks away. Looking at it front, we have 2 large orange stickers here for the sensors, and nothing too much else for color. These are supposed to be white up here, these little pipings going across the top, but they're a solid piece of plastic right now with a black. You'll have to mask that off and paint it if you want it to be anime accurate. And like I said in the unboxing video, there's a lot of nice detail there. And they're not too heavy, but having both of them on the shoulders, it could be quite a weight challenge for the kit to stand up on its own. So we may have to have an action stand for this kit no matter what, but we'll take a look at that when it's all put together. So I like these oversized weapons. I think they're pretty cool, and having 2 off the backpack is pretty major. I think it's a pretty cool design decision. Next up is the fuselage and attachment point for the Mega Beam rifles. So this is pretty standard issue from all the ReZELs except for these 2 points here. This is how we attach the Mega Beam launcher to either side, and it clips into place on the backpack with these 2 plug gap joints underneath here. We have 3 thrusters back here to help with mobility, and of course a white piece here for the cockpit hatch or whatever that's supposed to be. No real moving parts. These things here can swivel in and out a little bit, but not too much, and the thrusters are stationary as well. It looks nice. It's got a cool slick design to it. When this guy's all put together, it reminds me a lot of the Musha fighters from different arcade games and stuff, so kind of a cool slick design to it. We also have the standard ReZEL shield here that clips into either forearm with a barrel up here at the top that functions as a beam rifle or a beam saber. You can plug in the beam saber blade there to have a pretty cool effect going on. Up here on top are the pegs to plug in the rifle, if this kit did come with a rifle like the standard ReZEL does, but we don't get that with this kit. Nothing too fancy going on here, no moving parts or anything. Just good color separation, and it's a couple different pieces here, so all in all pretty simple. So 2 of the major additions to the ReZEL Type C Defensor B unit are these thruster packs that go in the backpack. These are pretty massive, they're pretty weighty as well. They have a good bit of articulation. There's a polycap joint connecting this piece to the thrusters here. You can swivel around 360 and go in and out a little bit. The thrusters are stationary. They're connected solidly on the backpack there, so no extra movement out of that guy. And this arm does not move either inside this thing. It's stationary as well. On the thruster pack itself, we have the 2 moving fins. This can go up and down as well as this one. And you have a beam rifle area up here on top, which you can also attach a beam saber blade to as well. I don't know if it's intended to do that, but it might just be a coincidence, but there you go. So in some of the wiki sites, they say that these things are supposed to be thruster packs and missile pods, but I don't see any evidence of these being missile pods. They look more just like thruster packs to me. But as a design choice, I think these guys are pretty cool. A simple way to add a lot of bulk and nice design elements to this kit to make it unique from the other ReZELs, and of course a lot of the other things in the Unicorn universe. So next up we have the backpack, which is used as a connection piece for the 3 different things on the back, the fuselage and the booster packs on either side, and it plugs into the back of the chest unit pretty securely here with these grooves. So nothing too fancy here, just 1 solid piece of plastic, and pretty simple design. This is all going to be covered up anyway by all the different items. The kit comes with 3 beam saber blades, 1 yellow and 2 pink. The yellow is not intended for use for this kit. It's X'd out on the plate layout, so this is extra if you want it. And then we also have 2 simple cylinder beam saber handles that fit to the hands pretty well. As I showed you before, you can use either the booster pack or the shield as another area to plug in the beam saber blades to. So you can have a couple different ways to display the beam saber blades. Alright, so we have 2 complete sets of hands here. 1 left and 1 right to hold on to the beam saber handles. And then 1 trigger finger hand for each side to hold on to the Mega Beam launchers. And these both have the bent angle wrist joints there to kind of put it at an angle so it can hold on to the handle pretty well. But the right hand here has 2 different colors for the fingers, 1 black and 1 light gray, whereas the other one has both black pieces. So that's kind of an odd thing there. And then we have an extra half hand here for trigger finger hand with the straight wrist joint. So I guess you can have that for an extra piece if you want to. Alright, let's go and take a look at the completed mobile suit without any of the extra weapons and stuff on the back. As you can see, it follows the ReZEL design very closely, except for the booster packs on the side skirts. Very nice design overall. I really enjoy the aesthetic design of the ReZEL mobile suits, especially in the legs. A lot of nice complicated detail and stuff going on there, so it looks really nice, especially in high grade form. As far as articulation goes, With the side skirts coming up, you can get quite a bit of a forward bend, almost all the way out, and of course on a good backwards bend as well. But because of the stationary back skirt here, it can't do too much, but I think it's more than enough for a flight suit like this. With the bulky side skirts, you can only get about that much of a split there, but again, I think that's enough for this kind of suit, so nothing too bad. Waist articulation is limited as well, just side to side a little bit. That's because of the groove on the waist armor there, and it can kind of rock back and forth as well. What I was talking about before with the shoulder armor having these weird joints, as you can see, the shoulders don't come forward very much at all. A lot of newer high-grade kits have a polycap there that flips out and gives you a lot of room to go across the chest, but the ReZELs don't have that feature, so these are pretty stationary. And then the head is free to spin around 360 if you need it to. In the simplified form here, this ReZEL is just fine on the ground. It has nice big feet and heavy legs, so it can hold the weight pretty well. But let's go on and check out with all the weapons attached to the back and everything and see how it does with that. So to attach a Mega Beam rifles to the fuselage, take the peg on either side of the fuselage, match it up with the polycap joint here on the Mega Beam launchers. They simply peg into place there. It doesn't snap into place or anything, but because of the friction added by the polycap joint, it seems to hold there pretty well. And that's pretty much it for the Mega Beam launchers. So to attach everything to the backpack, what you want to do is take your backpack piece here. With the fuselage, extend out the Mega Beam launchers on their axis there. Have the backpack piece with the slanted areas pointing down. Attach the fuselage to the center. Pegs into place pretty well. And then take either thruster pack and peg it into place on either side of the backpack. So with everything attached to the backpack piece here, you get a pretty massive contraption going on. It kind of outseeds any backpack that I've seen before. Definitely up there with the Justice and the Providence Gundam. So it looks pretty cool. It's not the most secure thing in the world, especially with the Mega Beam launchers. They seem to be kind of loose on their multiple joints there. And the thruster packs on the side are kind of unwieldy sometimes as well. But they don't fall off all that much. Just have to be careful with the thrusters when you're moving this thing around. Well, for me anyway, I have difficulty knocking these guys off when I'm adjusting everything, so just be aware of that. And also, sometimes I have an issue with some of the joints falling apart on the Mega Beam launcher, especially this guy here. It's real easy for the two pieces to come apart and the pegs to fall out that way. It works pretty well. It can stand to use a little improvement, maybe with some extra glue or something, some friction there, you can fix it up a little bit better. But I think the design and the overall aesthetic of it is pretty cool, especially adds a lot of bulk to the kit. So let's go and put it on the back and see how it looks. So it's a little tricky to get everything on here and to have the kit stay put on its feet. But if you get the backpack at the right angle and the weapons at the right angle as well, you can kind of get a good center of gravity going on and allow it to have a pretty standard pose on its feet. But as it is, I think it looks pretty good. Definitely have to have the back arched a little bit with the legs underneath it more than it should be. And you can see that the weight on the back disrupts the hip joints and makes it sag backwards some. It stands on its own pretty well, and you know, it's not the most posable of suits anyway, but the extra weight provided by the backpack definitely does make it kind of tricky to make everything work right. So with the Mega Beam launchers, you get a good amount of posability. They can come up and forward and point down a little bit and be stored facing straight up in the back. And as the thrusters on the packs here can go all around, different angles and stuff, so definitely a pretty posable backpack. But like I mentioned just a second ago, it definitely has an effect on the kit standing on the ground, so you may need to use an action stand to get some good poses out of it. So here's the ReZEL Type C on an action stand with both Mega Beam launchers in hand. As you can see, it's a pretty nice pose. It works pretty well. It's a little difficult to get everything to work right here. The wrists barely stay in place on the forearms, and you can't really get too much more out of it than this. Maybe a couple different angles, but not a whole lot of options to get this thing posed. But I think it looks really nice. One thing you may notice is that the waist joint area is a little loose. There's a little too much give in the gap between the crotch and the waist there. Maybe some extra plot plating, you can kind of shore that up some to give a little less space to move around. But I think as it is, it's pretty nice. Again, there's not too much different you can do with it, with both rifles like that in hand. Or maybe there is. I'm just pretty bad at posing, so I'll leave that to the experts out there. But I think it holds together really well. It has a really nice aesthetic design. The bulkiness on the backpack here is really appealing to me. Definitely adds a lot of strength and ferocity to the kit, in my mind, when compared to the other ReZELs out there. And quite a worthy upgrade to the standard ReZEL and the Commander type. I enjoy all the extra thrusters we have here. We have probably 12 different thrusters that we didn't have before. It's kind of a shame we don't have the extra rifle that the kit normally comes with, just to give a little bit more options with posing. But of course you do have the options of displaying it with the beam saber blades in hand, or on the shield like this. So several different good poses you can get out of the kits in the air, even with my limited posing knowledge. So I'll go and wrap up the review here. I'll be back in a day or two to take a look at the transformation to Waverider form and see how that form looks. Overall, right now I'm really impressed with the kit. I know it has a few problems with stability and a couple of things staying on, but overall I think the design and the uniqueness of this kit kind of makes up for those shortfalls. But we'll see how it looks in Waverider form, and I'll give you my final opinions on the kit as a whole. So let me know what you think so far of the review. Do you like the kit? Do you like the ReZELs? Do you think this is a good enough reason to have a new ReZEL kit come out? Again, this is a third kit on the HGUC line, but this one's pretty different than the other two. And I think each of the iterations are significantly different than the last, so maybe this is a good enough reason to have a new kit. But again, we still have one more form to look at, so stay tuned for that review. Let me know what you think so far with a comment down below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And of course, thank you to Gundam Guy for providing the kits. Check out the link below to buy your own, and I'll see you in a couple days.